What's up, guys? It's TROD, AIRSOFT, TROD, Team Rush or Die, whatever name you want to go with. We got a special guest today. Kind of like I said on our story for Instagram, we had a special guest with Die. A good representative from there was going to be on the show tonight, but due to some scheduling conflicts, we rescheduled him for about 2 weeks, so we get some things situated there. But today, I threw a Hail Mary and got a hold of somebody down in SS Airsoft, and actually the general manager down there at SS Airsoft contacted them, said, "Hey man, I'd love to have you on the show. I was planning on having you later on." And he goes, "It's okay. I'm good for seconds, that kind of deal." But man, I'm super glad to have him on. This is Dennis Johnson at SS Airsoft. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? I'm happy to be here. This is my first podcast I've ever been on or been a part of. So it's a big honor. I definitely appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited for you to be here. Like I said, we've been trying to bring this out. There are some other airsoft podcasts out there, but we're hopefully to do one in this local area. Have some cool guests like you on to kind of help promote the sport of airsoft, as well as a lot of the podcasts I see are more on the Milsom side, which I'm not nothing against it. Like I said, we've had conversations before. Milsom is a great part of airsoft, and actually, I think where the ground roots are. But we're going to try to put more on the Speak QB side of it. And I know SS Airsoft is definitely the place to be when it comes to the Speak QB side of it. So definitely appreciate you having on. Let's get this show started. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show was basically we started playing Speak QB. The only area anywhere close was basically SS Airsoft. And what got you guys kind of getting started with doing the Speak QB? Have you guys always wanted to do some close quarter combat because of your arena size, or is it something that somebody approached you guys on? How did kind of Speak QB get started, or I guess Speedsoft at the time, just Speedsoft and stuff, get started down at SS?
Well, it was a long time coming, honestly. Since I first started working there, I was talking about tournaments and competitions. And Steve, the owner, he hosted them way back in the day, but he wasn't really a fan of them, just because it could be a pride thing, it could be this, it could be that, sportsmanship, and there wasn't really a good tournament series out at the time. Um, all of a sudden, we started seeing more of this, quote unquote speed softing, more of the edgy kind of stuff, more of the cool stuff. Um, SYG was a big part of it. There was a lot of other teams that were a huge part of it. And we just kind of saw the culture growing around it, and we wanted to be, the first ones to do it. That's one of Steve's big things, being the first. We want to be the first. We want to do it the best. And we reached out to some of the guys that were doing that kind of stuff at that time, and they kind of directed us towards Speed QB, and we weren't really familiar with what it was. But we started talking with a lot of the guys who run it over there, like Roy and Eric and some other guys, and it really just kind of took off. We invited them out for one of our anniversary events. It was huge. Everyone, they were all over YouTube. They were huge. Everyone already knew everything about them. A lot of our customers have been following a lot of that stuff at the same time that we were, trying to talk about it and present it as well. So it was really a seamless entry, and we have an awesome, love for Speed QB the brand and Speed QB the tournament. So I mean, I'm personal friends with all those guys over there. We text, all the time, talk about new stuff. Um, and being a part of being able to grow that, I know you guys were a huge part of it. They're right there with us. So it was just awesome, and I love the competition aspect of it, and we're we're blessed to be able still running it now, at least this day.
We'll get into details later on because I'm really curious and how what's your guys' thoughts on how to run it, because I feel like every field has their own way of doing Speaky B a certain way, even all the way up to Tax City. Tax City was the known Speaky B. That's kind of like the again the roots of it. But then you have Project N1 that does Speaky B, but it seems like it's still a little bit different. And then SS has their side, and even when Battlecat was running theirs, they had their version of it. So every field has their own version of Speaky B. You still play by the rules, everything's still the same, but there is still a twist compared to the field layout and everything like that. But I wanted to ask, and I should have started it this way, man. Airsoft. And Dennis Johnson, where did that come from? Have you always been in doing airsoft? Has that always been kind of your thing, or like how'd you get involved with it?
So actually, I didn't know anything about airsoft. I had nothing to do with airsoft. I had never played airsoft more than me and my little brother had some spring pistols probably in 20 years ago, and we used to run around the yard. But I never thought it was actually a sport. I didn't know it was big at all. I played paintball way back in the day, um, and honestly, I lived right down the street from SS Airsoft. I noticed they were hiring. I went in there. I talked to Steve and Patty, the owners, and we hit it off.
How long you been at SS?
Coming up on 5 years in a few months.
Uh,
5 years.
so
So
so you picked up your first gun while working there? Is that
I
about right?
did. I did. I picked up my first airsoft gun there. It was a Echo One Knights Armament rifle. Because I knew, I honestly, because it was a real rifle, and I thought that the licensing was cool and stuff. And I played for a while. I really don't get the opportunity too much anymore, except for like events and stuff. But I've always been big on sales and management of all kinds. I've done a ton of stuff in the past with that. So it was learning the stuff was really the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but everyone in the community is awesome. Steve and Patty are awesome. My coworkers are awesome, and I definitely wouldn't be here even at SS if it wasn't for all of them.
And it's pretty cool to see, especially not having anything involved with airsoft. Go from doing nothing, meet and receive everything, and then going all the way up to be a manager. Is it something that you had managerial experience before, and that's kind of what kind of groomed you into being in that position? Even though it's not about airsoft, because at the end of the day, usually the best way to run a business is not by playing the sport, but usually being in the business mentality. It's hard to kind of do both in most cases, and so I'm sure that's why you're best for the position. But it was something that you've been manager in other locations.
Yeah, man. So it's kind of random. Really started off in management at Walmart. I worked there for about a year and a half. I was doing overnight management over the back warehouse, and from there, I actually managed one of the first fireworks stores in Georgia when it became legal. I know in South Carolina you guys have had it forever, but in Georgia I worked with a company, and the same year it was legalized, I worked part time and started build. We worked on different stores, and I became assistant manager there. I did that for about a year and a half. It's kind of like airsoft. All the fireworks are different things. There's cool different things for each one.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different options. It's just a lot of technical stuff. Um, that really is the most relatable job that I can say to what I'm doing now for sure.
Gotcha. So get back to SS. So when you became the manager and everything like that, did you have a big mindset that when you guys brought on? So actually, let me backtrack. Speak UB. How long have you guys been running doing the Speak UB style?
I think it's been a little bit over 3 years now.
Okay.
A
So
little
what
bit over 3 years.
did you guys have that field that's in the back of your guys' public play? As did you guys build just basically cut off some of the public play to build that Speak UB format?
We did. We did. Yeah, we actually kind of really just Steve loves to go all in. I love to go all in. If we're going to do something, we put our all into it for sure. So we did delegate an area in the back of the field to begin with, and kind of just roped it off with caution tape.
Mm-hmm.
Built some barriers, painted them red and blue. It was still pretty cool, but then it became more serious. We kind of been hosting it for the whole southeast at that time, and we actually built a whole wall that uh, divided the field completely, so that you can stand behind the wall. It's got plexiglass windows. You can watch the game. You can enjoy it without getting shot and having to wear a mask and all that kind of stuff.
So go.
Okay, well, what I was wanting to ask is, from like saying y'all starting Speak UB, okay? It's new in the area. Y'all was the first ones on it. Did that not give y'all a little bit of unease as to say how the area would react, or did y'all just go into it knowing it would work, or did y'all have any reserves? Like, as a field owner standpoint, what was your thoughts going into it?
So when you're in business, you're there's always risks you got to take. But advertising, talking about it, getting the community into it, that's the main thing. Speed QB is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're speed soft, if you're milsim, if you're a new player, if you're competitive and you want to do it. That's really what you want to do. But yeah, no, there were definitely some negative connotations around speed softers and what it might grow into and things like that. So we really just had to have that mindset that anyone can do it. We had to follow the rules strictly to make sure everyone was doing it the right way. And you know people that don't want to play the right way work themselves out.
Well, that's understandable, and I would say, from a player standpoint, at your that being that we have played at y'all's field, the way
Mm,
that y'all keep everybody fair and you don't show favoritism, which is one thing I can highly brag on about SS versus other fields. Um,
right.
so when y'all stepped into Speed QB, did you ever imagine it would be where it is today, especially for bringing so much light to SS per se?
Um, you know, anytime we do something, we think this could be huge. So I will say, man, not really. No, I didn't think it was going to be as big as it is. I know, especially Speed QB in general, they're growing, huge in the entire world right now. So we're lucky to be a part of that. We're lucky to be, kind of the representation over here, and just all Speed QB. It's really nice to be able to represent that. And about the favoritism, man, you have to run it fair. You have to keep everybody on the same level. There have been times when some people weren't very happy with what happened and things like that. But at the end of the day, I love everybody, man. Um, I love being around everybody, and I love being part of the community, which is honestly the best part about my job.
And that's one thing you guys have done. You guys been involved in the community, even outside of Speak UB. Y'all
Mhm.
promote the mill sim just as hard. And that's one thing that I highly respect about SS, among other things. But the fact that you're not just a mill sim field, and you're not just a Speak UB field. You guys are a community field, and I don't say that being corny, and I don't say that lightly, if that makes sense.
Right. No, for
um,
sure.
you guys really cater to the community versus what you want. You know, uh, Steve may be a Milsim guy, but he's promoting SpeakQB, or he may be a SpeakQB guy, but he's promoting Milsim. He really thinks about the community as well do you, and I really, from a player standpoint, this is not really a question. This is more me saying thank you. You get what I'm saying?
Oh no, dude. Thank you, man. You guys, I listen. If I didn't have people like you guys and people that wanted to play airsoft and loved it, there would just be a cool building that I got to sell stuff out of. Um, you know, so having the community, man. You guys are still a huge part of it. But even in bringing it up, you are a huge part as well. So no, I like I said, I love everybody. You can come play airsoft. You can play Speed QB. You can play Milsim. Um, it doesn't matter. I mean, you come into the store, your family. So that's really what the community is about, and that's it's just enjoyable working there.
And that's where you guys shine. One thing I do want to ask you though, do you have any like paintball background, or Steve, anybody in that area?
I used to play a lot of paintball. I
Okay,
did.
cool.
Speed QB is really close, I would say, in terms of the gameplay and the field layouts and things like that.
So have you played actual speedball?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was growing up, I was part of this church, and we actually made a whole speedball field with the blow up things. We put the netting up. We got our own fill station, things like that. So I was big into paintball. I actually just sold all my paintball stuff like a year ago at a yard sale. It kind of died out a little bit.
So here's my question: If you have that background, I do as well. What
Mhm.
could you say that SpeedQB, since it is newer, not the company, the play, the actual field and play style, what is things that you feel like could be implemented from paintball or vice versa that one could benefit from the other?
Hmm.
since they run hand in hand and paintball's been around longer, is there anything SpeakUB should add or possibly look at from a paintball standpoint?
And I think the reason why he's asking that question is because we've had conversations before that paintball is well established. I think the NXL, like we talked about, is just a well-rounded tournament for paintball at top level sports. Going down to Miami, I think it's where it's at down in Florida. But they're doing something right, and we're trying to find out what can we do in airsoft. Obviously, you have plastic pellets compared to paintballs, but they're doing something right. We're doing something similar. What can we improve on that will help us overall?
Right. Well, I will say that I know Roy with SpeakQB. He's been doing a lot of big things, and this coming up season, there's a lot of news that's going to be brought out fairly soon around the world as far as stuff coming out and tournament series and different fields doing different things. So it's definitely on the up and coming. Still, there's a lot of definitely a huge gap between where paintball is now and where airsoft is. But I've actually talked with a couple different people as far as hosting different tournament series and things to make it more professional and to have things like that going on. But I mean, I would say including things, companies, and people and places that don't necessarily have to do with airsoft.
So you're saying reaching out to maybe like, I guess the stupidest way to name this would be like, a lot of people I'm sure watch Twitch, and G Fuel seems to be all over Twitch. Is that what
Right.
you're saying? Like reaching out to somebody like G Fuel to get involved with the airsoft scene?
I think so, man. Just because before I start working at SS, I didn't even know that airsoft was a thing. I went and got my teeth cleaned the other day, and I told the lady I managed an airsoft arena, and she didn't know what that was. But,
That's when you're like, what? I got a bunch of friends that because of our SpeakUB, we put money in our airsoft guns and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, I built this gun. I said, yeah, I got about, I think I probably about $800. And they said, you have $800 in a BB gun? And I'm like, well, it's more than that.
Yeah, it goes up quick too. But yeah, I mean, I think just obviously it'd be difficult to get like Nike or Gatorade or something like that. But I think including companies or something that would that is more widely known. And I know it's difficult because it's airsoft, it's guns, it's this and that with everything going on today. But in general, I think that would be maybe the next step.
I can see it. I'm sitting here actually as you were saying that. I was looking at our picture on the screen, and you said something about Nike. I was like, well, Nike would be a good one because literally on every single one of our feet there is Nikes on.
Right.
But no, I get what you're saying, and I agree 100%. It's just I feel like it's going to take more than just East Coast doing it. It's going to take a national level to try to push for those things as a whole, and it's going to take everyone to have to come together to try to take airsoft to the next level.
Right.
Which I'd love to see it. I've been in airsoft, golly, 13 years, and I've seen it come from literally cock your gun and shoot it every single time, a little Springer, to now HPA, and it's just constantly innovating. So it's definitely on the rise. I think it's just we as a community know where we could be. It's just we haven't got there yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing that's keeping it alive is the people who do it, the people who love it, the people who've been doing it. But growing the sport to me is really what airsoft is all about. And that's something that, if you look back even, 3 to 5 years, it's way bigger, the industry as a whole is bigger.
Oh, 100%. It's like back in the day, you was talking about Echo 1. Echo 1 was the gun, when I first started. But now it's not obsolete. You just don't hear as much from them. Now it's all, KWA, you've got your VFC, the Crytax, everything like that. G&G, well, G&G don't count. They've always been big. But, it's just things are changing, but it's for the good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the companies that are putting their time and effort into making new innovative things, like you said, are the ones that are, still out there, and just coming out with new things and new products and cool new stuff is really expanding the whole industry as well as keeping them relevant for sure.
Hey, I'm gonna pause this real quick. I love this conversation, but the Skype is frozen. So I tried to use Skype 2 weeks ago, and it made a black and white screen on poor Tran. Can I call you right back?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's try that. Close out.
Sorry, guys, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. So as you can see on the stream, we are live, and the way that we are getting these people to talk to us is through Skype. We do not endorse Skype. We do not endorse Skype. It is terrible. So use something besides Skype. Future reference, guys.
Garbage. Straight up garbage. Oh, I see him. Okay, he does exist. All right, let's change it. Let's go back to what we were doing, so we can see him on the screen.
So Dennis, we have went through some like more deep thought questions. Let's ask you something like fun. What is the most enjoyable thing that you at SS Airsoft have ever done or experienced? It doesn't have to be an event. It could be a special memory. It can be anything whatsoever.
You had that rapper. Who is that? The rapper there like a couple months ago.
Lil Yachty was there.
That's right.
Yeah, Lil Yachty was there. That was huge. I got to meet.
I called him when Lil Yachty was there. I was going to ask him a question. I didn't know that was there, and he said, "Yo, Hunter, somebody's here. I got to call you back." And then like 5 minutes later, I seen it on Instagram. I was like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah."
But what was your favorite memory there?
So I've got a couple that I can think of off the top of my head. Lil Yachty was a huge one. He was so cool. He was so down to earth. He loved playing airsoft. I don't know if you guys saw the YouTube video on it. He had a lot of fun. Another one, I got to meet Anthony Edwards. He plays for the Timberwolves right now. He was the number 1 pick in the NBA draft last year. I got a ball signed by him. That was really awesome. He was another guy who was just more than happy to be there, just so humble, just so cool. But I will probably say the pinnacle of my career at SS Airsoft has been being able to play against Steve and shooting him.
Yeah, that would be a sight. So let's hear about this story. A little bit more details.
Okay, all right. So it was November 2019. Was when the new Call of Duty game came out. We had a Call of Duty night, and Steve was like, "Oh man, we got to go out and play." And this was the first time I've ever seen Steve play airsoft. First time ever. He says he's good. He says this and that. It is what it is. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be on the other team. We'll just split each other up this game, and then we'll play with each other the rest of the night. And so he's coming off the far side by the SPQB field. I'm coming off the other side. He goes up the middle to the first building. I actually sneak all the way up around on the right side, and he's aiming down, and I shot him right in the butt. And he jumped up in the air and grabbed his cheeks, and he turned around and flicked me off.
All right, so now that the story is out there, did you respect the 10-foot rule, or was it maybe like a little bit of a 2 or 3 foot?
Oh, no. This was like 25 feet.
Oh, man, come on. Should have read your stuff, dude, man.
I got to ask, because he brought it up. Is the 10-foot rule a Georgia thing, like the Georgia regulation, or that's something you guys do? Like, what's the 10-foot rule? What?
That's just a SS Airsoft thing.
Okay.
I really don't know any other fields who have that rule. I know we have it because we have a ton of new players. We have a ton of younger players. We have a ton of guys who never played airsoft before. And if you come around a corner and get shot 2 or 3 times up close, you're probably not going to want to play again. So that's just something that we do just to kind of keep everybody, for the most part, on even playing ground and make sure nobody gets hurt, stuff like that. We do have a 400 feet per second limit, and that's kind of high for a lot of indoor fields. So we think that 10-foot rule kind of accentuates that.
So let's keep going with that. The HBA. So there's some fields that are local that don't allow HBA. What is your thoughts on HBA? Do you think that it's something that it's okay it's understanding that a field doesn't run HBA, or do you think it doesn't make any sense? It's just
honesty is key.
So honestly, HBA is big money. It's expensive. You make a lot of money off of it, first of all. But second of all, I would say that the people behind the HPA are the ones that give it a bad rep. Um, we do have a lot more limits on the HPA stuff. You know, your trigger pull length, rate of fire in semi and full automatic. It's a joule rating instead of feet per second, so it's much lower than the AEG rating. Um, you know, we before every game we ask, all right, how many HPAs are on this team? How many are on this team? We split them up even. So HPA is definitely a huge advantage. It's the most competitive gun you can have in airsoft for sure. But I tell people too, I'm like, look, man, you have a lot of responsibility in your hand with this HPA gun. So if you do something wrong, it's going to look bad on a lot of people with HPA. So just know what responsibility you have with this gun that's so powerful.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we've talked about it on stream and off stream before. That's a little bit of our thoughts behind it too. It's we understand maybe why they don't want it, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
understand because it's not the gun that's making it overshoot. It's not any of that. It's no different than real steel, and I'm probably not supposed to get into this, but in real life, you can't blame the gun. You blame the person pulling the trigger. That you lay that HPA or that real gun on a table, it's not going off unless you put your finger in it and pull the trigger. So
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying. It's not the gun that's bad. It's the players that give it the bad rep.
Right.
So do you think you still have? I mean, I don't think you can deny it because no field can, but you're going to have your toxic players. So how do you guys usually deal with your toxic players? Because like you said, exactly right on point, that it's not really the gun, it's not the HBA, it's who's behind it. Same thing on the Speedsoft side is everybody, a lot of these fields, a lot of these teams, people are afraid to play Speedsoft, afraid to play SpeedQB because they're afraid of getting shot up, which we get hurt 10 times less playing SpeedQB than we do public.
Facts.
But
Right.
how do you guys normally deal with the toxic players?
So I mean, for starting off, the community is awesome. Everyone there is really cool. They want to have a good time. And I think I kind of prefaced this earlier, but people that don't want to follow the rules and don't want to do this and don't want to do that, they work themselves out of it. And now we do have kind of like a strike rule, and we sit you out a game, we sit you out 2 games, and then we send you home if you're doing things that aren't safe or conducive to everyone having a good time. It's all about safety. It's all about fun. And if you're stopping other people who are paying you their good money to do that, then you can go home for the day and think about it a little bit.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the thing about the whole, and I guess I'll lead into reffing. The thing about the whole, I blame the issues in any airsoft field half on the player and half on the field, because yes, it is the player's fault. The player is pulling the trigger, but if it's not controlled by the field, by the refs, and everything like that, then you're just gonna lay them what's the word? Run around ransom, not ransom. I can do math, but I can't grammar like crap. But anyways, basically, run all over the place, shooting, bang, killing, unloading.
Rampant was your.
That's the word. That's the word. But anyways, running rampant all around the field, getting in trouble. And if the refs aren't doing anything about it, they're just gonna keep going. And it's almost like having little kids running around. Literally, like I have a 2-year-old daughter and a newborn. It's like letting my 2-year-old run around and just destroy everything and not getting on them. Where if you have refs that actually step up, be like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. If you do that again, you're going to get in trouble and that kind of stuff, and actually lay down the law, everything is controlled a lot better. That's why there's laws in place with the government, with the United States and everything like that, is to keep everybody happy and in control. If you let everybody go rampant, that's the word, then it's going to get out of control. And I think that's why I do blame 50-50 is if you have slack refs, which some fields do. We've been to some fields where they just let them run around and it's just not a good experience. But the times that they're laying down, like you're talking about, that hey, sit them out, send them away for a week, 2 weeks, ban them for life, that kind of stuff. You have to do those things to, I guess, create an example, but say, hey, we don't tolerate that. We're all here to have a good time, and you're ruining it for everybody.
Yeah, and people respect that so much when you're not afraid to remove those people that are being unsafe or not following the rules, things like that. And that's part of the thing that I really love about our referees and about SS is that we do care. We care if you have a good experience. We want to grow the sport. If you're not having a good time, you're not going to come back.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm really proud of the guys, and I'm proud of all the referees, and that Steve set that culture at SS, that we do care so much, and that we care about everybody who walks in the door.
Well, I would like to lead into the speak. You'd be getting a little bit dug in on that. When you guys set up for a tournament, which we are going to be at the next actual tournament, I know we haven't been there all this year.
Bro, you can blame this month on me. I will take it because next week we were supposed to come, but it's actually my fiance's birthday, which ties me down, and then Kyra's supposed to come to the birthday party, so it's kind of my fault.
I guess my invite got lost in the mail, I think.
It did. COVID, man. COVID.
Killing us. And then Christmas we kind of talked about a little bit, but during like the winter time, like actually Tran brought up, like he was talking about his guys kind of take a break during the winter time because everybody has their day jobs and day life and
Right.
crushing airsoft week in and week out.
Adult things.
Doing adult things. When you're crushing airsoft day in and day out, you kind of get burnt out of it. So during the weekend, or not the weekend, but during the winter time, kind of everybody, we don't really play much, just to kind of take that break, get our energy back up, get our excitement back up. But anyway, so next month we definitely are gonna be there. What's your guys' plans for this year for the Speak UB? Actually, I know I keep jumping around, but what's the plans on the 11 year? And that 11
Yeah. So a lot of guys from different companies have been cleared to travel lately, because they got their vaccines, stuff like that. For a long time, everyone in California couldn't travel at all because of everything going on. So I actually did talk with Devin from Die today. He did say he was sorry he couldn't make it tonight. I told him I was second fiddle to him, and we laughed a little bit about it. But he did say that he was able to travel. I got some guys from Lancer Tactical say they can travel. A couple of other companies saying they're starting to be able to come by too. So hopefully we'll probably be doing something this late fall, early winter, to get everybody out here for sure. And I don't have any 100% news right now, unfortunately for you, just because things are still moving and changing. But just from a few people I've talked to said they're ready to travel, they're ready to get here. They missed us, they missed everybody here. So it's going to be. Stay tuned soon for it. We're gonna start planning everything pretty soon.
I getcha. No, one of our best experiences we had with Speak UB with airsoft in general was the nine year. That was so much fun. I didn't even get to show up for the actual event side of it, with all the vendors and everything. But Hunter, Zane, Josh, basically a couple of our guys, were down there and just couldn't stop talking about how awesome that day was. And then it followed up with the Speak UB tournament after that, and it was just that whole weekend.
Look, man, that day was fun. The whole 9 year, I had a great time. Got there early. I was spent by the end of the day. Like I physically understand what they told me. By the end of the day, you're not gonna feel like doing anything. So I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, by about 6 o'clock, I was done. And anyways, my whole highlight of that thing, and a lot of people, you guys watching, wouldn't know this, but was that conversation that Steve actually prompted at the end of dinner, where he literally had everybody stand up and say who they was, and just whatever they wanted to tell about themselves. And that whole talk that we had, that table with all the vendors and all the special guests and everything, that probably was one of the most memorable things for me in the TROD career. Take out the wins for me, the losses for me, the sponsors, all that. That night was probably the most memorable. And I'm not going to say anything else because it becomes self-conceited. I'm shutting up. But that was a very awesome night.
No, that was an awesome night, and that was the last anniversary we had, was the 9 year.
Yeah, because I remember last year Steve helped us get a bunch of patches and all that for the 10-year give out, and I still have the box sitting downstairs, and along as with all of our free giveaway stuff.
I have 10 patches that will probably never see the light of day. So
Yeah, we have.
I don't
God, we still got a pistol sitting over there. We have a SSP-1 sitting somewhere, I think.
Yep.
We have a mask sitting somewhere. There's tons of patches, stickers. It's literally just sitting around. It was a bummer.
So we were pretty bummed out, which obviously you guys had no control over it. It was all during the pandemic, anyways. But that's why we're all pretty excited for the 11 year because it's always a grand time. But back to the Speak UB stuff. So
How many times we gonna go back Speaky B?
I know, but we always this is like a Speak
This is a Speak UB podcast.
It's Speak UB podcast, and then I'm like, and here let me backtrack a little bit. So this was not. Other than 3 hours ago, this was planned. So when it comes to notes, normally we're going back with questionnaire, question. There is literally no questions. If you can't see my screen, it's completely blank. So there is absolutely no questions. So we're kind of spitting this off
But
my
see,
air.
when you know somebody, it's not as hard. Like we're carrying on a conversation, whereas like somebody else, you're having to like sit here, you're staring at me, I'm staring at you, and it's like, you got anything, Kyle? You know?
Well, that's
No,
why-
it's just talking. You know?
We
Come on, say something, anything.
Exactly, and we're so excited to have a podcast with Di just to get another company's input, especially they're in like hardcore into the paintball stuff. And I looked at Hunter and I said, man, I don't even know what to ask. Like I love talking to Tran. We have our own conversations. We have one of our other players, and we literally don't put any notes in because we can just ramble on for hours on end. But when we were talking about having this podcast with Devin, I was like, I don't know what to ask.
Speak for yourself. I play Call of Duty with a man almost every night. It's just like talking another night.
No, not for me. That's why I told him. I said normally I kind of run the podcast and I kind of create the questions to keep it going. And I told him, I said, man, you're gonna have to run this one because I don't know what.
Look, all right. So I'll take Kyra's line again. So back to Speak UB.
So back to Speak UB.
Hey, back to Speak UB, guys.
What's your guys' plans for this year to make it kind of bigger than last year? Like, how do you guys plan on improving from year to year? I know the one thing that's changed. I feel like a lot this year more than the last 2 years is teams. It seems like you guys all have a whole new group there this year.
There's a ton of new teams. There's a ton of new players. It's awesome watching the community grow. Keeping teams together is difficult, as you guys know. Everybody's got something else going on. Plans here, plans there, getting married, having kids. So
is he describing PRD right now?
So it's difficult, man. It's difficult to stay together, especially when you're older. Life happens. Life is the worst enemy of airsoft.
Yeah.
No, it's great seeing the community grow when you put in all the hard work to introduce it to new people and new teams, and they show up and they love it and they want to play. That's what it's about. And going on as far as the new stuff for the season, there are some new rules this season. There's a new format this season. We're actually working on getting new bunkers and a new field and everything for this season as well. There's a lot of news that's going to be coming out in the next couple months as far as
you said new field.
New field.
I bet you money something in there's plexiglass window.
Oh.
And the only reason I say that is because literally that was the hype last year of like a lot of the fields. There's like, oh, plexiglass window in the middle of the field. That would have kind of be cool. Sorry, I didn't get that out.
There's going to be some big news. I'm just going to say that.
That's all you can end with, man.
In the next month or two, there's going to be some big.
AIRSOFT breaking news: shuts down field and opens up an only Speak UB field.
You can see
that would be sick, like the Netherlands.
Dude, that would
it's SS news, but it's also Speak UB news. So you guys stay tuned. Make sure you're showing up for the tournaments every third Saturday. We're hosting.
Yeah, Hunter.
Look, happy wife, happy life.
Every third Saturday, gentlemen. Every third Saturday.
I almost spit my water out. I don't know if I can.
You mean the third weekend of the month, not
every. He's saying every 3 weeks. That's what he just.
No. It's the third Saturday of every month. I'm sorry.
See, I can math. I can't grammar.
I drive a gas guzzler, so it costs literally every time we go up there, it's about $125 for me to get up there, and that's to play and everything. So one time a month's cool with me.
Well, since we haven't been there in like 6 months, do you think you saved enough money?
House, wedding, rings,
adult stuff,
horror stuff, dirt bikes. You want me to keep going?
Horror movie artifacts.
You want me to keep going?
I know, man. It was just at auction. I'm gonna wrap it up a little bit with what questions you got for us, if you
For you
have
guys,
any. Yeah, for us.
yeah. I mean, what's your guys' plans in the future? I know this is awesome. Like, I'm really happy you guys are doing this. I'm happy to be a part of it. So I mean, this is obviously something you guys are doing. But what else you guys got going on in the future?
Well, this was kind of started. Um,
Halfway last year.
Well, it started halfway last year, and the reason why I started it and actually keeping going is because, um, one, help our sponsors, because I raced for a long time and was a big and know what sponsors mean. And if you invest in a team, and like if they invested in my race car or invested in my team, I have to show out some way, shape, or form, whether it be visually or caps or hats or shaking hands, kissing babies, all that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
And hey, you gotta do what you gotta do as sponsors, man. But we basically hide in the dark when especially during the wintertime, we don't show up. I'm a videographer. I do wedding videography, so I have all kinds of equipment. But I don't. It's kind of like airsoft is. When I'm there to play, I'm there to play, not really take videos and pictures, which is kind of sad. So this podcast is a easy way to produce content as well as get out the word. Have fun conversations, useful conversations, and basically hopefully grow enough where people are listening, hearing. They can share to their friends of, hey, this is what airsoft's all about. Maybe upcoming news, or basically get the community involved. Hopefully with this podcast, but I started it basically to produce content as well as hopefully grow airsoft where we can. Obviously, we're not a big central part of it, but any way anybody can help is kind of big. But as for the team wise, what you got, Hunter?
Well, I know we're gonna play Spooky Bee this year, obviously. Um, I do know that we are traveling probably towards the end of October ish, give or take, to just drew a blank. HTK or something like that.
Indiana, right?
Indiana, yeah, we're going out to Indiana.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah, we're gonna go out there with some of the other guys, Roy and them actually, where they
Yeah.
asked us about it and told them we'd go.
Mhm.
I know we got that coming up. Trying to think of anything else this year like big so far. I mean, honestly, we really hadn't like thought about it. We just kind of like rolling with it.
Yeah, that's kind of that way we do things, which is not really much of a great thing. But the only thing on our mind is Speaky Bee, and then if we're not doing Speaky Bee, we'll kind of come out and do some small stuff. Like he go to Greenwood. No, not Greenwood. What's the Milsom place?
Bro, Georgetown, that place is awesome.
Georgetown. He'll go to. We will travel to Battle Cat once in a while. We'll go up, which we haven't this year, but usually once in a while we'll go up and just play public play at your guys' field.
Mhm.
They love public play at your guys' field a lot more than Battlecat. I prefer Battlecat. It is kind of the field layout. I like that, but
Bro,
most of
I
our
like
team
the
love.
BQB. I like the field layout at SS versus Battlecat. I love Battlecat. Not saying I don't. But I do love this SS layout. The only thing I wish, for the love of Christ, is that there was no 10-foot roll. Because that is the one thing I constantly catch myself doing. I will run around a corner and pop somebody, and then I have to stand there for 30 seconds apologizing how I'm a dimwit and I never remember the 10-foot rule.
We understand why it's there. It's definitely a huge change for us since we're just used to running around. Like there's no 10-foot rule, so when we're around the corner, hey, I'm gonna pop you. But then at SS, it seems like the people. I guess
But the players are very understanding.
They are. They are. They
That's one thing.
do. When you run around a corner,
Oh, dude, it's good, man. I understand. I'm like, oh, thank God.
I couldn't hit a child. Thank you.
but
But hey, we are going to have probably either the end of this month, or early next month. We're going to have an adult night. Full auto, no engagement distance. So you guys definitely, stay tuned for that. That's the best of both worlds.
Oh, I believe it.
when is that again?
It's either going to be at the last Saturday in this month or the first of the next month. I'll have to look at the dates, but we're trying to get it together right now, man. I've been so swamped. So it's either going to be probably either the 29th or the 5th.
29th. Skype being trash. We're definitely not using Skype anymore. What did you say? What was the dates again?
29th or 29th?
It's either going to be the 29th of May or the 5th of June.
Gotcha. I got it that time. 29th of May or 5th of June.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Any last minute plugs you want to shout out? We greatly appreciate you being on here. Like I said, definitely we'll do this again in the future. I gotta get questions. Me not having questions kind of made for a dull show, but definitely been real exciting. But any plugs you'd like to mention?
No, I mean, I just want to thank you guys, TROD. You guys are awesome. Can't wait to see you guys again. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to SS Airsoft. Shout out to everybody who comes there, plays there. You're awesome. I appreciate you listening, and I hope I didn't do too terrible for my first podcast.
No, dude, you done fine. And I was gonna say, we'd like to have you back. Maybe get you and Steve together in the future,
Yeah.
so we can discuss this.
Yep.
You shooting.
Oh yeah, I gotta hear.
We gotta
We gotta
hear
hear the
Steve's
story.
side of this now.
Yeah, it probably knowing him. I say knowing him because I know him at all, but I feel like maybe there was a light in his eye and he missed it. Wasn't
Yeah, he just didn't.
Oh yeah,
He's got a reason for it. So we gotta hear it.
Yeah. Well, I won't tell him about it, so we'll see what he comes up with on the spot.
All right, Dennis. Well, man, I greatly appreciate it. We will do this again, but in the meantime, peace out. Hopefully, I can do this with my.
All right, Hunter, thank you guys so much, man. It meant a lot, and hope you guys are doing well. And let me know if I can do anything for you guys too.
No, you're good. And if anything, we would like to do maybe in the future. We
I
haven't even talked
literally
about
thought
this
you was fixing to ask for something. I was like, oh my god, are
On-
you serious?
on national television. No,
Well, yes, man.
we
Yeah,
talked
help each
about
other out.
we talked about it a little bit, and we actually have not talked about this at all. But we really enjoyed, and we're gonna do again. I think a Call of Duty tournament.
Yeah, but I'm playing in it. I'm not sitting
Yeah.
back on this one.
We talked. I think me and you talked about very little bit last year, a couple years ago. I think it was last year. But we will probably do that again. And do you play Call of Duty at all?
Oh yeah. I'm big on Warzone.
Yeah, he's actually, I've seen him on Warzone. He's got a 10.6 KD, and his score per minute is like 800. Like he'd almost be considered hacking.
Legit. Oh snap! All right.
On the X.
All right, so when we host this tournament, and there's not a real thing, so we'll have to figure out when that will be, because we definitely had a great time last time. We didn't have as good results, and we had some hiccups on it.
Mhm.
Especially, Call of Duty shut off that. What was that? Where it shares the ping.
The server.
Yeah,
yeah.
they turned that off as well. Did they bring that back yet?
I have no idea.
But anyways,
I only saw.
I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do that again in the future. But you're gonna have to play in it though. So you're gonna have to find a partner, and you're gonna have to play in it.
Dude, I'll play in it. I want SS to be a part of it too. Please, you got my phone number, man. Call me. Let me know. We'll get it done immediately. I got guys who can do some of that stuff too and help out with it.
All right, man. Well, you heard it here, folks. We're definitely will be doing a Call of Duty tournament in the future. Don't know when. Could be 3 years from now. Could be 4. Could be next month. Doubt it. But other than that, we'll see you guys next time.
Let's get it.